Welcome to the Coaches Show. We're in the playoffs. I'm Brian Stanley. With me, David Schuster, the head coach of your Mission Prep Royals. It's a great day, Coach. We're celebrating the birthday of the Marine Corps. Hoorah!
Yeah, baby.
Coach, what does that feel like? Celebrating the birthday of the Marine Corps, your family, people you've been with in the deep and dirties.
Yeah, it's always a special day. It's always a great day to reconnect with guys I haven't talked to in a year, and usually kind of like the birthday is usually kind of the day when you reconnect with a lot of guys. And it's in a couple different ways. It's been a little bit of a harder year. We lost a couple of buddies this year, so it's just always been a good time to kind of reconnect and reflect and be thankful for the guys who are still there with you and thankful for their friendship and their brotherhood that I have. And it's lifelong. And so I'm excited to, today and probably later this weekend and some other times coming up here, going to have some great opportunities to connect with those guys again. And I'm thankful I got, Gunny's on my staff, Hernan Rodriguez, and he's a very dear friend of me. They're just like-minded men, like-minded warriors, and it makes up a special brotherhood. Proud to be a part of it.
And Coach, though you want to celebrate, we still got football playoffs to focus on. Coming out of the first round of Division II, you took it to the Tigers once again, this time of Lemoore, a 21-12 finish. At the break, it was 14-6. What was your feeling at halftime, Coach, with that score and how your team was playing against the Tigers?
We felt very good at halftime. There were a couple things that we felt we had to have established, and we had them established. We were in complete control of the clock. We were in complete control of the run game. Defensively, I was extremely happy with what we were doing. We really felt like we were keeping number 4 contained. We felt like he was their biggest threat. And if we could keep him contained, it was going to open up a lot of things for us defensively. So we went into halftime very much going, we're in a great spot here. And let's just continue to do the things that are making us successful here. And so it was a great halftime. Really loved the energy from the team. Just everything about that Friday. Everyone's, I won't lie, I was a little nervous getting out there because you just never know what to expect. And it's hard to judge how big those guys were on film. We knew they were really big. We got there on campus. We walked around campus, and they were by far one of the largest teams I've ever coached against. They were absolutely massive and very physical. They did a lot of really good things on both sides of the ball. And then pregame started, and I was looking at the team and the energy and everybody in the locker room beforehand, and I had this overwhelming feeling we were in great control, and it kind of played out that way in the game. The kids are just completely dialed in, and so by the time midway through the third quarter, everyone felt very much like, let's just we've got control of this game. Let's continue to do what we're doing here. And let's finish this thing out the right way. So by the end of it, it was a very special win. Obviously a historic win for us. First time our program's ever won a game in that playoff bracket that large. And so it was a really, really special feeling to go out to Lemoore and play at their place. And it was a hostile environment. And just really proud of the way the team handled it.
And your defense came up big, allowing the Tigers to pinch their own toe, shall we say. Jack Susink coming up with 2 fourth down red zone interceptions. And then their offense caught themselves on a cadence call as your defense stood steady on a 4th and 1, which they were trying to get you guys. They got themselves, and that pushed them back away from the red zone, and they were forced to do something else with the ball that wasn't in the game plan at that moment. So your defense coach, Caden Elmerick and Isaac Townsend, two studs on that defense on Friday night. Talk about them and overall the defense and the special teams coming up with a blocked PAT and then shutting down a 2-point conversion that prevented the game from being tied at first 7-7 and then 14-14.
You know, the reality is playoff football, it's always just a matter of inches, and it's the most unexpected plays, sometimes the most insignificant plays, and you look back and you go, man, that absolutely changed the game. You know, that block PAT after their first touchdown, frankly, changed the entire game. They never led at any point in the game. We were in control the entire game, and the rest of the game they were chasing points, and that put them into a situation where, you know, it's a 9-point lead for them, or a 9-point lead for us in the fourth quarter. We're driving the ball. We get a fourth down, and we go, you know what? It's 9 points with just a few minutes left. We're going to punt because they need to go down twice, and we didn't feel like they could go down twice on our defense and score. And it just really felt very much like our guys did their job, and they played great assignment football. Isaac Townsend at defensive end continues to be a huge force. I think he leads the team in sacks. Just very physical presence on the edge. People have a really hard time blocking him. He's got a great pass rush. He's got a great motor. And then Caden Elmerick, and we actually used some of his clips from the game and showed it to the whole team as kind of like an example of, this is the way we need everybody operating here. Just his relentless energy and effort. He's an absolute heat-seeking missile. There are so many plays throughout the year where the ball gets on the perimeter, gets on the edge, and Caden comes out of nowhere and just blows the play up. And he's become one of the most reliable tacklers on the team. One of the most reliable defenders we have on the team. And he's a kid that everyone kind of looks at him, and he doesn't, stature-wise, he doesn't look like much, but people keep throwing to his side, and the ball's never completed. Or if it is completed, that receiver is feeling Caden. And so we just feel very much like Caden. We named him Recon Player of the Week for a reason. He did an incredible job. And he had a couple of really, really key plays that, had he not been there, probably gives that offense a little bit more confidence and probably makes them start doing some other things that we didn't want them to do. And so Caden really kind of taking care of the perimeter was a huge, huge, huge deal for us. Just really proud of his relentless energy on the outside there. And you know, the entire defense all year long has been the backbone of this team. Just so proud of the way they operate. You know, they kind of have a Warriors mentality, and we feel very much, and we continue to feel this way, that most people are going to have a hard time going up and down the field multiple times on this defense. They just, they're very physical. They wear you out. They're always in the right position. They're really, really well coached. And I could not be more proud of this Recon defense, man.
And then on the opposite side of the ball, we had the shake and bake with Jack Susink and Drew Harrigan. Susink 3 touchdowns, 153 yards, and Drew Harrigan 117 yards on 8 carries, well over 10 yards a touch. Talk about those two shaking and baking out of the backfield.
Yeah, those two have really started to complement each other very well, and there's enough difference between the two that it's really hard as a linebacker, and I can speak from personal experience. You know, it's hard when you've got enough variance between the two runners. It's hard to start timing it up. It's almost kind of like in baseball, you got a fastball and a changeup, or a fastball and a slider. There's just enough difference there where it just makes it really hard to really kind of focus on one over the other. And so as soon as you start getting comfortable with one, the other one comes in and it hits differently, and it hits, you know, hits in a unique way, and suddenly your angle hitting that running back is different. And you'll see it a lot where guys overplay Drew and they run hard past Drew because they're used to Jack, and they're having to, you know, they got to get all 11 to the ball to get Jack down. And all of a sudden Drew's got these quirky little angles because everyone kind of overruns him, and he's smaller, kind of got a little quicker burst through the hole, but he's just as physically tough as Jack. And so you'll see Drew constantly where he's getting these little weird kind of sneaky angles, and he's picking up 15, 18, 25-yard carries, and you're just like, hey, man, you know, we got something special here. So just so proud of both of them, and they continue to be absolute workhorses for us. You know, Jack really carried the load because the reality in those kind of games, you go with the hot hand, and Jack, you could see Jack was physically wearing out the defense, and so and Jack felt great and was looking great, And so when we gave him opportunities to take a spell, Drew went in and did an incredible job. And so I think it's great for Drew to kind of watch and learn from Jack. And then as the opportunities present themselves, Drew's taken full advantage and done a phenomenal job. But and really not even those two, those two did a great job. But I got to also compliment Isaac Townsend, who played the whole game at fullback, and then Andrew Bate. Both of them continue to play unsung roles. Where they very easily could be running backs in other years. And this year they're very much playing a blocking role for us. And just really, really proud of their commitment to doing things the right way and getting after it, being physical at the point of attack. And they opened up holes that weren't there. And if it wasn't for their blocking, it makes it a lot tougher for us. So just there's 100 different things I could talk about with Lamore. I'm just so proud of the way these guys operated, man. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, Jack Susink would be the first to give a shout out to his O-line for his performance on the field. And my favorite moment of the game was, I believe it was Jack Susink's second touchdown. The guy did on defense, did absolutely everything he was supposed to. He wrapped him up at the 1 yard line, and Jack ran right through him and took him in with him for the touchdown. The guy had his arms around Jack, that he was in front of him. He couldn't do anything wrong on the tackle except tackle Jack Susink. You don't do that. And Steven was asking the question, why are these guys even trying anymore? He's just going to tear it. He's just going to take him with him. So
yeah. It's been the question everyone's been asking all year. How do you stop six? And he is a tremendously strong kid, and he's got a great burst. And once he makes that one cut and goes, man, there's really no way to stop him, man. He's coming downhill on you. I felt the biggest play in the game, to be honest, I think it was 3rd and 30 or 3rd and 25 or something like that. And we ran the football just trying to get some yards and get ourselves in either better position to go for on 4th or a better position for a good punt. And he breaks off a 30-yarder, and he breaks like 7 tackles on that play.
yes.
And it was the first time that it'd been a couple of weeks where, Jack really finally started looking like Jack again. And it was like, okay. And it fired up the sideline, and it was like, yep, all right, we got a dog. We got something here that's going to work, and we can very clearly tell there's some things that are starting to kind of shift our way here. So I felt like that run kind of opened up the rest of the game for us. And so I was just, I could talk all day about it. Just so proud of the way these guys operated, and they played with the Warriors mentality all night. It was great.
Now, I stretched out the Jack Susink talk just a little bit because he was our player of the game for the first round of the playoffs. And in the voting process, we conducted a player of the year voting. We had 7 voting members, including Coach Schuster and myself, and Jack Susink took 5 first place votes in that voting for the Mama Leah's player of the year. After 10 games, after 11 weeks of football, 10 games, he has 1,213 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns, 6 100-yard games, 4 150-yard games. And that's just his offensive stats. There's a whole slew of other stats to go along with them. You can jump on Max Preps and get the whole list. But this kid is a stud, and he deserves the accolades he's receiving. I want to give a shout out to Caleb Alalim. Taco received 2 first place votes. So he was our runner-up in the Mama Leah's player of the year as a true, genuine leader on the team, both offensive and defensively. So I want to throw those out there, Coach. We're going to move on, unless you have anything to say about that real quick.
No, it's well-deserved, and I'm very proud of both of them. And, our success that we've had this year is very much, you can very much attribute it to our team captains and all 5 of them. The way they have commanded the room, the way they have operated with the team, and the commitment they've shown every single day in the weight room, on the field and the locker room. They've just been tremendous. And Jack and Taco have been leaders of the whole team. And they're very, very well deserved. Deeply proud of both. So.
And I want to thank our sponsor all season long for the Coaches Show, Central City Motorsports, the home of AutoFlex Air Ride Suspension, both an authorized retailer and installer. Visit them, centralcitymotorsports.com, or give them a call, 805-345-3080. Craig, my buddy, he's awaiting your call. We're off to the second round, the quarterfinals of the playoffs, Coach. And I have a challenge to your players, since they cannot grow playoff beards. Some of them may not be at that right age to grow them yet. Others you don't allow because you got to keep it clean shaven at Mission Prep. But I got one going for you, Coach. And if they want to see me turn into Santa Claus with a big old bushy beard, they got to keep winning. So my challenge to them, if they want to see Santa Claus, come to Mission Prep personally. I'll even go get the red hat and the coat, and I'll do it all. So
if you're gonna do this, then I need a commitment. Now that we're on the air, I want to get this publicly. That you're gonna grow this thing out, and you're gonna show up. If we're in the CIF, that means we're doing a turkey story the day before the game for Thanksgiving, and you have to show up full Santa Claus deal. So it's gonna be the Irish Santa Claus, and you're gonna show up walking on campus looking that way.
Deal.
Okay.
But your kids got to go all the way.
Yeah, we got to get there.
We got to get there.
Yeah.
So there we go. The challenge has been laid out and accepted on both ends.
All right.
Okay. So this Friday, you got the Bakersfield Drillers, the #2 team in Division 2. November 12th, kickoff 7 p.m. Back live streaming. The ever so requested stream on prepsportsnetworks.com will be back. Steven and I will have the call. Our lovely cameraman Thomas will be with us. And Coach, this is a dynamic program out of Bakersfield. 37 section titles in school history, and the winningest football program in California history, dating back probably hundreds of over 100 years, because it's probably one of the oldest high schools in California. I don't know how old it is. Forgive me. My history is a little short. Coach, this is a big matchup. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, when you say Bakersfield High School in the football community, that's the equivalent of, they're one of the Mount Rushmore programs of the state. It's right there with Modern Day, De La Salle, Corona Centennial. For the last several years, it's been very much you're talking about like Corona Del Mar and Corona Centennial and Bakersfield as the three major public schools in the state, and Sarah up in the Bay Area. Those would probably be your best public schools for football. But Bakersfield has such an incredible, legendary history. They've been the gold standard for high school football in this state for a very, very long time. And it's weird seeing them in D2. I know they had a huge coaching change halfway through, and they've been a very different team since that coaching change. I know a few of the coaches on that sideline, got great respect for them. I think they do an incredible job. And they're very well coached. And you can see that and since that coaching change, those kids have really bought in, and they're very much committed to success and doing the things right that they need to do to be successful. The Bakersfield way, they look like what you expect Bakersfield is supposed to look like. And, and all that to say, the crazy thing is 3 years ago, we were 8-man football. And now we're going to Bakersfield playing at that legendary stadium. And in the second round of playoffs for D2, it's just talking about an incredible situation, and one where we're certainly punching up very high, and we've got to play just phenomenal football to be able to pull this thing out. They've got a couple dudes that, with all due respect to everybody on the Central Coast, but I haven't seen anybody on the Central Coast like a couple of these guys that they got, and that's just kind of standard for Bakersfield. They always got dudes, and their line is aggressive. They come off the ball with tremendous intensity. they're going to cause a number of problems for us. And just sitting here trying to game plan for it, man, it's been a headache. And as excited as we are as a coaching staff, we just constantly sat there going, well, let's do this. Now that won't work. Now let's try that. Now that won't work. And like just going through like, how do we find a way to stop these guys on offense, on special teams, on defense? Like there's just a number of matchup problems that we're going to have. But you can't, there's just no way not to be excited about this game, man. And
I'm excited.
The opportunity in front of us. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very hard. But I will say, if there was ever a team that I would ever want to take to Bakersfield to playoffs and try to make something happen, it's this group that we have this year. This is just such a special team, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but we'll absolutely give it our best shot. And if there was anybody who could do it, this team could do it. And I can't wait to get after it. And, again, just so much respect for that team and that program. They're well established, and it's going to be really, really, really fun.
So, Coach, the Drillers come in at 4-5, 2-2 in the Southwest Yosemite League. They beat Tulare Western 48-13 last week, the number 15 seed. I want to know, the question is, you have a common opponent in Central Valley Christian, the Cavaliers. Mission Prep beat the Cavaliers 36-26, and Bakersfield Drillers beat the Cavaliers 27-14. How much is that game tape from the Cavaliers playing into gaming for planning for this contest this week?
It's a good question. I know both programs, like they've got our tape from when we played CVC earlier, and we've got theirs from Bakersfield or from CVC. But I think it's the biggest comparison is really just kind of like you can sit there and judge sizes. You can kind of look at it and go, okay, I remember how big CVC was, and I can see how big they are, and okay. And then it also gives you a good idea of like, oh, hey, I'm seeing them, demolish this kid over here, and that was a kid we struggled with. So that gives me a good idea of how good they are, type of deal. But in terms of like building a game plan, like CVC and us are very different, and we run very different schemes on all sides of the ball. So it wasn't really as crucial as people might think it was. It was more just, there are aspects to the game plan that you put in, but probably not as much. There were other films that we watched that we felt were way more helpful for us in building a game plan that, well, we'll find out Friday whether or not it's going to be successful or not, but that we feel is going to give us our best shot at winning. And I won't say what those films are, but the CVC film, like any other film, is helpful, but probably not as impactful as everybody thinks it was.
Like any good poker player, you're keeping your cards close to your chest.
Mm.
So, Coach, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. Any final words from you?
I would just say, if there's an opportunity for the Mission Prep community to come out to the Bakersfield game, it's an incredible stadium. It's an incredible environment. This is such a historic game for Mission Prep. Just the idea of tiny little Mission Prep, 320 kids in this school going up to play Bakersfield at 3,300, I think, right now in the school. And they were, just 2 years ago, they were at 3,900. Close to 4,000 kids in that school. You're just talking about it's the definition of David versus Goliath, and just just an incredible opportunity for a great game. Hopefully it is a great game, but man, I'm so excited. And if there's an opportunity for Mission Prep people to get out to that game, I hope you can make it. If not, watch it on Prep Sports Net. And we're going to need all the support we can get this week, but just so thankful for this team. If this is the last interview we do this year, then I got to say this team has been special. My coaching staff has worked so hard. I'm so proud of them. I'm so thankful for them. And this team has really done incredible things. They are a history-making team. They have broken the mold on Mission Prep in a number of ways. They have really kind of set a new standard for what Mission Prep football is supposed to be. The community and all the surrounding communities talk very differently now about Mission Prep because of this senior class and the way that this team has operated all year. And I can't begin to thank them enough. I'm so proud of all of them. They have earned this opportunity to play in a game this big. And that's not viewed by us as a punishment. We've been very much at peace with the D2 playoff system and the way the playoffs was going to unfold, and we view it very much as a reward. They now, as a reward, get an opportunity to play in a historic game, and they have a historic opportunity, and I'm thankful for that. I'm hopeful it's successful for us on Friday night, but if it's not, I couldn't be more proud of this group, and hope everyone's been thankful for them and their work. And hopefully, Lord willing, we get one more week and he shows us some favor and gives us a great Friday night. So,
Mission Prep Royals look to go 11-0 on the year, look to extend their win streak to 12-0, dating back to the previous season, traveling out to Bakersfield to play the Drillers live on PrepSportsNetworks.com this Friday, November 12th, 7 p.m. For Coach Schuster, Chris Sylvester, Stephen Hodges, I'm Brian Stanley. Thanks for joining us on the Coaches Show.